Okay, chapter 8, review. This was for me when I was a student in real estate. This was like, I think, one of the most challenging chapters for me to kind of understand what was going on. But then once I understood what was going on, I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. Sometimes I'm not the quickest to actually get things, but eventually I do get it. So, chapter 8. Property rights, estates and tendencies, condominiums, cooperatives, and timesharing. So the way that I kind of looked at this chapter that really helped me, property rights are just that. They are rights that automatically comes with the ownership of your property. You don't have to sign like anything additional or a will or anything like that. There are certain rights that automatically comes with the ownership of that property. On the other hand, estates and tendencies, now you're adding something additional on to make sure that you either want it to be left to someone or will to someone, or even while you're alive, you might want to lease it to someone, okay? So let's take a look at some of the things that they're talking about in there. Over on page 166, of course, it's giving you the definition of land. How do you, now that you got land, how do you really turn that into your little real estate session? You kind of make some little changes on it, and you can even bring in your real property on it. Once you get real property, now you got your bundles of rights, things that are automatically coming with you. What are some of those things? Over on page 167, if you, let's say you have pond view or you have ocean view, there's certain rights you have concerning that. Riparian rights associated with land abutting a flowing water, such as a bank, a river, or stream. There's certain rights that comes with that. Littoral rights are associated with the land abutting tidal bodies of water, such as the ocean or the sea. You now have a condo front on the ocean, okay? You've got certain rights concerning that, and that's really good to know. So these are examples of some more rights that automatically comes with your ownership. Definitions associated with water rights. You got some more definition guides that you can put on index cards. Accretion, process of land building up sand and soil. Alluvion, new deposits of land as a result of accretion. Alluvion deposits commonly occurs at the mouth of a large river. Look at erosion, gradual loss of land due to natural forces. I like to use accretion and erosion against each other. Accretion tells me it's a process of land building up. Erosion tells me it's a process of land gradually lost. So they're almost kind of like the opposite of each other. And then you have relaxation, gradual receding of water, uncovering additional land. Okay? You've got some surface rights, you've got air rights. Don't go flying above my air right. If I don't give you permission to go above my house, don't go doing it, okay? Certain rights here again that you automatically have coming with the purchase of your property. Over on page 168, you got real property versus personal property. Personal property, that's stuff that you can usually consist of items having a limited lifetime and are easily movable. Your nice little jewelry, things like that, or your couch, personal rights. Some of those personal properties can be turned into, over on page 169, what we call fixtures. Fixtures is an item that was once a personal property but has been permanently attached to or made part of a real estate and is now legally considered real property. An example I like to use is, let's say you buy a tub, going down to the Home Depot and getting you a custom-made tub, okay? So as long as you have the tub in the shopping cart, that's your personal item. It's a personal property. But as soon as you get it home into that bathroom and get it attached to that bathroom, it is now a fixture, okay? That's an example of a fixture, what you will be talking about, okay? Underneath there, they're talking about relationships or agreements of the parties. Don't go, if you're going to take out you're renting a property from someone, and you're going to take out the sink and put a designer sink in there, would you please put the old sink back in before you leave, or make some type of provision with the landlord stating okay, you can have the designer sing. If not, you're gonna have a problem, okay? That's kind of what they're talking about there. Over on page 170, 171, well, 170 down covers some basic property rights: disposition, enjoyment, exclusion, possession, control. These are bundles of rights. Automatically comes with the ownership of real estate. Now, once you have to start signing additional rights on, look on page 171. Now we're getting to estates and tenancies. And I'm just really going to quickly brief using figure 8.3 in the box because it's just easier for me to kind of understand it that way. So tenancies, estates and tenancies are things that you're going to add on to your property. If you have freehold estates or estates of ownership, these are additions that are dealing with someone's lifespan. So when you're dealing with a freehold estates and estates of ownership, you don't have a date time because it's dealing with the lifespan of someone, when someone is going to pass away. So unless you know something that we don't know, you do not usually know when they're going to pass away. So when you're putting on freehold estates, normally you will not have an ending date, okay? So just to let you know, you won't have an ending date on there, and you won't have that starting date on there because they are freehold estate dealing with someone's lifespan. What are some of the samples? What are some of them? Remember, these are your freehold estate. Fee simple, most comprehensive estate, and it is inherited. I, Father John, will my property to my daughter Susie when I die. Well, Susie don't know when you die, but it's just that simple, okay? Then you have life estate, measured by the natural lifespan, and my daughter Susie is to keep it for the duration of her life. Life estate. Estate and revision occurs when property returns to the grantor. So now you've got the grandson buying a condo for grandma, grandpa, and he gives it to them for the duration. Literally, he buys it for them. So turns everything over to them. Their name and everything is on it. But he also includes an extension pretty much to the point where it says, and if in the event that grandpa passes away before me, the condo will revert back to me, the grandson. So you see how what it's saying is that the estate is in revision. It occurs when property returns to the grantor. Remainder of estate occurs when property goes to a third party. I, Father John, will it to my wife Susie, and my wife Susie is to pass it on to my son Timmy after she passes. Vested remainder man refers to someone whose legal name is specified. Exactly what it says. They're putting in the full person's name. Their name is specified. Contingency remainder man refers to someone whose legal name is not specified. You might say, I, Grandma Susie, will my condo over on the beach to my third granddaughter, okay? So she's not using her name, she's using her position. You see the difference between vested and contingent? Vested remainder man is going to use that person's name. Contingent remainder man is going to use their position or their title, not so much their name. Now, if you add on a non-freehold estate, these will have dates. These will have either a starting date or an ending date or both, okay? Versus your freehold estate, they do not. When you put a freehold estate on one of your properties, it's not going to have an ending date or a starting date because you don't know when that person's going to die, okay? But for your non-freehold estate, you do. Estate for years, a written lease agreement, specific starting and ending date is telling you, okay? Tenancy at will, an oral agreement for one that has no specific ending date, but what did it have? It had a specific starting date. Tenancy at sufferance occur when the lease period has ended and the tenant is a holdover. I used to say, this is the way I remembered it. I put a little twist to it. I said the landlord is suffering because he has an idiot in his place after the expiration date without their permission. Go figure, okay? So anyhow, that's what you're looking about there. Page 172, page 173 talks about them in detail. Make sure you read over them and you're clear with them. Now, on page 174, if you want to put some type of extension onto a business, 174 talks about concurrent. Here again, I'm just going to go over it in the little chart diagram. That's figure 8.4. You make sure that you read over them fully. Sole ownership. If you are the sole owner of your company, you can will it to whosoever you want to. That's what that last box is saying. You're the owner, will it to whosoever you want to, whenever you want to. However, if you are in partnership, look over in the column that says tenancy in common. If you are in partnership and the remaining partner, one of the partners pass away, and the remaining partner, you do not want that remaining partner to have your portion of the business, you're going to have a tenancy in common. Why? Because that way, see that last box that says no right of survivorship, heirs inherited? You will write your will to whosoever you want to inherit your portion of the business. Usually tenancy in common, you have same or different titles. You can have the same or different titles. You could have started the business at the same time, or you could have started it at different times, the two partners, okay? Now look at joint tenancy, and the reason I use those two boxes to show you the difference. Joint tenancy, on the other hand, is one that says when one of the partners passes, the other partner will automatically get that property. Well, kind of look at some of the things that happen with the joint tenancy. You see the next to the last box. The last box is right of survivorship. That means the remaining partner has the right to actually make sure that he takes it. But also, it says that the partnership, that business was started at the same time, and both of the partners, they actually have the same title. So with joint title, you actually get it in your mind, oh, okay, it's joint. They started this together. They started at the same time. So yeah, he has full rights to actually, if one of the partner passes, for the other partner to maintain the full ownership. They did this all together. That will kind of help you remember what's going on there. Tenancy by entirety, that's for husband and wife, and that's for right of survivorship. Here again, page 175, page 176. Read over it, guys. They're talking about it in detail. 177, now you're dealing with corporative condominiums and timeshares. Yay! Definition, index card, corporative. Line 19, a cooperative association or co-op is a multi-unit building that is owned by a corporation. Straight out definition, guy. And here's the thing. The unit owner purchased shares of stocks in the corporation. Ownership of the stock entitles the purchaser to a proprietary lease and the right to occupy the unit. Okay? That's what you're looking at there. On 178, disclosures and cancellation periods. The developer is required to include a disclosure in the sales contract stating that the buyer of a residential corporation unit may cancel the contract within 15 calendar days of signing the contract and receipt by the buyer of all the items required in FS 719, okay? And this is the buyers of a residential corporate unit. Pay attention to the wordings they put on there. Condominium consists of condominiums units and condominium elements. How do they start? Line 38, by having a declaration of condominiums, telling them you want to start building one. 179, you have the articles of the incorporation of the association. Those can be created. You have bylaws. Your frequently asked questions. Inform prospective purchasers about restrictions on the leasing of a unit. Information concerning assessment and whether and what amount the unit owners of the association are obligated to pay rent or land, uses fees, or recreation department. That is in the frequently asked question, okay? Disclosure and cancellations period. Make sure developers or 20 or more units must also prepare the prospectus, and they have 15 days of signing the contract and the cancellation receipt of the buyer's condominium for the prospectus. Okay, guys? Make sure you read the other part of the chapter is basically talking about your timeshare. Timeshare ownerships involve individual interests in living units according to the number of weeks. Basically, they are reporting to the vacation plan and timeshare account, so make sure you're good with that. we'll talk in a little bit, okay?